All right, so we had a great interview with Nikki, and we've got the Wilder women next. But in between, we've got another unique horsewoman. Ashley, you there?
I'm here.
All right, so is it Ashley? Is it Ash? I mean, what do people call you on the track?
Honestly, they call me both. I never really liked the nickname Ash, but it seems to have taken over recently, so.
Well, everybody in the industry has nicknames. We're with Ashley Eldred, and if I could ask, what generation horsewoman are you?
I guess I would say second to my mom, but my family is very well known up in Upstate New York. My stepfather, who raised me, is William Bailey, and his father was Jack Bailey, who was very well known as a trainer driver in Vernon, and is in the Syracuse Hall of Fame.
So your, I guess, knowledge and skill set and what have you has been instilled from the upstate New York scene, aside from, I guess, the bigger tracks closer to New York City like Yonkers and what have you. So I guess how did you first delve into the industry? I mean, you said your stepfather.
Yeah, growing up, I, obviously had to go to the barn every day, and when I got done with school and help out and everything, and I never saw myself being in this business. I didn't really care for it, and I always thought I'd go and be a vet and do vet school, and I guess that took a turn because I never finished. I did start, and I never finished. And
So
then,
how many years did you go to vet school for then, if I can ask?
on and off for like 4 years.
And then did you get far, I guess, in that, degree, or were you just still taking the general ed courses? I mean, were you taking higher level courses?
Honestly, it was kind of just random courses that were going to go towards my degree, but I was always traveling, and I moved to Florida and still did online classes that would work towards having my vet degree.
So when you went down to Florida, were you still dibbling and dabbling with the horses, or did you kind of step aside, or?
Yeah, I was. I was working for Dan Daly, and that was my first job, and it was hard. Everyone knows Dan Daly isn't easy to work for, but I'm very grateful. They were very good to me, and, it taught me a lot about hard work, and it makes everything seem a little easier now.
So you moved from basically, helping out as a kid in the shed row, after school, what have you. You get a little older, you move down to Florida, and now you've got this training from Dan. Where'd you go from there, from Florida?
I moved back to New York. I bounced around a bit. I worked, for a couple people here and there. I filled in. I helped my mom and dad. I was farm manager for Celebrity Farms for a bit, who had everything from broodmares to race horses and everything in between. And then, I had my one horse. He was my first horse, Ehi Guaglione. And he was just a floor claimer at Monticello, but that's, I guess, where it started.
And you also do outriding, which we're going to get into. So I guess where did the foundation for outriding come into play?
I have no idea. I acquired Paco about 5 years ago. I bought him from a friend who got out of outriding. And I moved to Saratoga at that point when I bought him, and they had been talking about getting an outrider. And I thought maybe I would, mess with that. And I liked riding horses, and I loved the undersaddle, and so I figured I would try outriding, and it never worked out there, so I just recently took my first full-time job at Freehold Raceway last year. So
you're the outrider at Freehold. All the drivers, all the trainers, everybody knows you on the scene there, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you're in that, I could say, subsect sorority of outriders, and I've asked this to, the upper echelon tier, if I can say. Is it like a sorority? I mean, are you guys critiquing each other, not in a bad way, but always looking and seeing what, you guys are doing, either on the track or when something happens? and giving each other support. Is it like a little sorority?
It is. You know, the newer outriders, obviously, like myself, I know I go to Missy and Tia a lot, and, you know, they've been very helpful, and I haven't worked hands-on with them, but anytime I have a question or concern or, you know, want to just talk about something, they're always there for me.
So let's talk about your stable now. How many head do you have currently?
I believe I have 10. I'm not really sure, though.
Wow. So we were referred to you from Marianna Monaco, and for those who don't know, I'm going to say she's a professional golfer, because she is. She played at the collegiate level. But let me ask you, have you heard of the Horseman's Voice before Marianna, or was this, I guess, the first inclination into our publication?
She was the first I heard of it when her interview came out, and then when she referred me.
So you had a piece come out with Harness Racing Update, and then we got in touch with you, but then you were featured more recently with Carly's new publication, Inside Harness. So now you've got the hat trick. I mean, this is going to be broadcast worldwide. What does it feel like to finally get a little exposure?
It's surreal. I mean, it's been a blessing. I've had a lot of people, you know, even Julie Miller, reach out to me and congratulate me, and, you know, a lot of people have seen my hard work lately. I'm traveling up and down the road. It's just my mom and I in the barn, and we're working hard, and it's really been paying off.
So let's talk about some of these horses. We've got Sir Jake, we've got Luger, you know, we've got Noah's Mill, a lot of these winner circle pictures, but then you also have this first under saddle race, wire-to-wire victory. You know, you want to talk about some of these pictures?
Travis, Traverse Sealster is his race name. He has been a blessing. I fell in love with him about 7 years ago when I was helping someone in Saratoga, and I ended up buying him for probably half of what he was actually worth, and he's just made money after money for me, and he was still competing at an open level when he retired last year by choice. He's just such a great horse, and he literally gave me everything that I have today. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be training horses still.
And what about Luger, you know, an older horse, or Jake, Noah's Mill?
Noah's Mill gave me my first open win at Vernon last year. He's not my horse. He actually returned to a new trainer, well, his old trainer before me. I had him just to kind of rehab him back, and he was a great horse. He got me a lot of seconds and thirds at Yonkers and got my name out there. Lugar, I bought him for under saddle, and COVID hit, and you know, we stopped having races to try to save our money, because here in the United States we have to raise our purse money. We don't have betting on it yet, unfortunately. But he had some health issues, and, you know, he's really turned around this year, so I'm excited. He's missed a check out of, I believe, 7 starts, so he's been great even at 13. Sir Jake everyone knows him as my baby. He's a little hard to handle, and he's had a history of being bad, and he's probably everyone's favorite in the barn.
So let's talk about the home life. I mean, I see some shots here of you going trail riding with, if I could say it correctly, Ehi Guaglione, and then we've got a broodmare with a baby. Are you living, I guess, on a farm, I guess? It looks like on the side of a mountain in upstate New York.
Yeah, we live, everyone calls it the Sticks. We're about 45 minutes away from Vernon Downs. That's the family farm. And Ehi was my first racehorse that I owned and trained, and he is now retired with me. And he's great with the kids, with other horses, to ride, everything. It's really a break away from everything, just to get away and ride.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, just from the regime in the morning and training, and you're stabled at the track, I'm assuming, or where are you stabled? Yep. You're stabled at the track. And then what about this broodmare in this foal? It looks like a chestnut coming out of a gray horse?
Yeah, we don't really know what color she's going to be, because her belly and her legs are all kind of gray, but she looks almost red. She was the mare I bought as a birthday gift to myself a couple years ago. I bred her to So Surreal. I love the Some Beach Somewheres. So she was almost a perfect match, and everything went smooth. This is my first homebred baby. She's great. She's really big. She's healthy. She's smart. She's already pacing 3-legged at 6 weeks old.
Wow.
And she is actually a month in full to So Surreal again.
Wow.
So
right back at you. I mean, you're just getting to all facets of the industry. You want to just quickly, before we end here, you want to just give us a typical day in the life of an Ashley Eldred, up and coming with 10 head, with, a home barn, and you've got, like, turnouts, I'm sure, at home, and you trail ride. I mean, what's a typical day like for you?
Crazy. My weeks are, quiet, go to the barn, and my mom and I train together, and we work well together, and then, go home, do the home life, spend time with my little baby, and weekends I spend on the road down at Freehold, racing Meadowlands, outriding. It's hard, it's a lot, but I could not imagine it any other way.
So you just love what you do like everybody else. So besides, I guess, Dan Daly, besides, I guess, your stepdad and your mom helping out, is there anybody in the industry you want to give a special shout-out to?
I mean, there's so many of them. Everyone's been a blessing. Norm Desrow, who you can see in my pictures, I wear his colors under saddle. And he recently passed away. He was like a second father to me.
Wow. And
that is also the guy that gave me Traverse Sealster for a very, very good price. And, helped me start up. And
it's just snowballed since then. I mean, look at you today. I mean, you're up and coming. Everybody's talking about you. We see you everywhere. I can't imagine the mileage on your vehicle, let alone on some of these trail horses. But we really want to thank you for your time. We really appreciate the interview. We appreciate Marianna giving the recommendation. We're going to tap into you for some people in the future and just keep expanding on the sport. But again, we really appreciate your time, Ashley.
Thank you so much.